If your fitness coach has you cutting carbs down to zero, eating 6 meals a day, barbell squatting and barbell deadlifting you till your lower back screams in agony, you should walk away as fast as you can because they're flat out destroying your progress. Are you paying someone to make fitness harder than it has to be? Let's find out in today's video. What's up guys, Josiah Novak with thetruetransformation.com. We make total body transformation a priority while helping you find sustainability with your fitness plan. Ultimately, I believe fitness is the lowest hanging fruit to changing and improving every part of your life, but you gotta do it in a way that you actually enjoy. So on today's video, we're gonna cover 3 main things. We're gonna cover 6 red flags to watch out for if you've hired a fitness coach. Number 2 is why these outdated methods not only aren't gonna work, but might actually harm you and what to do instead. And then finally, we're gonna cover 3 things that a world-class fitness coach should help you achieve. But what's the one mistake I see most fitness coaches making that is keeping you stuck? And how can you avoid it? But first, let's talk about some red flags. If your coach is doing any of these, I would strongly suggest having a serious talk. Red flag number 1 is I see so many fitness coaches just slashing clients' carbs down to zero. Like, let's face it, it's an easy way to create a large calorie deficit without having to do the work of explaining to the client how to manage calories while still including carbs. You know, for many, many years, keto was all the rage. You know, everybody I talked to was putting butter in their coffee, eating steak and eggs, and losing weight because they're not eating any carbs, and carbs hold water. So it's natural to see a ton of weight loss right out of the gate as soon as you start lowering carb. But at the end of the day, carbs are fuel. And if you're in the gym consistently, you're training, you're moving more throughout your day, and you're just building a lifestyle that's centered around taking care of yourself, you don't have to be scared of carbs, especially if you're managing your calories appropriately. Now, I'm not here to tell you that you can just eat whatever you want carb-wise and you're not gonna have any negative side effect. You know, we do have to be careful with managing our sugar intake, especially from the highly processed crap like, you know, candy bars, cookies, ice cream, all the stuff that, yes, I love that stuff too, but all the stuff that really makes it hard to stick to a diet. When we're talking about carbs, you know, the top, call it 10 list of carbs that I try to include in most people's diets, if they like them, of course. We'll start with the good old-fashioned Mother Nature's medicine, which is fruit, vegetables, and then from there, typically things like potatoes, rice, bread, and yes, I said bread. Bread is great if you can manage it and if you enjoy things like sandwiches or even just bread with, you know, your eggs in the morning. Things like wraps, oatmeal, grits. Yes, I'm a huge grits fan. I love grits. You can hate all you want. Drop the hate in the comments. Totally fine. And then there's things like beans, lentils. You know, the list goes on and on. Carbs are not the enemy. What's really the enemy is highly processed food that contains a high amount of fat and a high amount of carbs in the same source of food that leads to your appetite just going bonkers. I see so many guys get their carbs slashed down to zero and then they get frustrated because they're like, how am I supposed to enjoy my nutrition plan? How am I supposed to eat like a normal human and do the things with the family, go to business dinners when I can't have any carbs? I'm like deathly afraid of carbs because supposedly they lead to weight gain. Stop being lazy with your diet and your nutrition planning, coaches, and start building plans that allow for a healthy amount of carbs and a healthy amount of enjoyment in a client's plan. If your coach just immediately slashes your carbs and says, okay, we're gonna go all meat or fat and protein only, unless you're someone who absolutely medically needs to go low carb, you should walk away pretty quick. Red flag number 2, 6 meals a day. Real talk here. Who has time to eat 6 meals a day? Heck, who wants to eat 6 tiny small meals a day? I used to do this almost 15, 20 years ago now when I competed in bodybuilding shows because I fell into the trap of thinking eating more frequently is going to somehow speed up my metabolism. That myth has been debunked a long time ago. It doesn't work. What ultimately speeds up your metabolism is moving more, lifting weights, eating the right amount of calories to support all your daily functions, getting more sleep, having a healthy amount of testosterone. There's a lot of other stuff too, of course, but like at the end of the day, eating 6 meals a day is only going to tick you off. It's pretty unrealistic for people with super busy schedules to have to schedule 6 different times during the day to eat. I can remember like it was yesterday, the first time I realized I don't have to eat more than a few times a day. In fact, I could eat 1 meal a day technically if I wanted to. For me, that's also not sustainable. I like to have typically at least, either protein drink in the morning, or I'll just completely fast until lunchtime, where I'll have a decent sized lunch, typically around like 500 to 600 calories. Then I'll have like a protein bar and a piece of fruit in the afternoon. Then I'll have a pretty big dinner and a small dessert. And that works for me. And now I'm not gonna tell you that you have to eat exactly like that, but you can free yourself of the burden of thinking you have to eat 6 times a day to speed up your metabolism. You just simply don't have to do that. My best recommendation here is to find a meal schedule that fits your specific lifestyle. That might look like lunch and dinner with a snack. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're hitting your calories and your protein and you're sticking to mostly healthy foods, your life is gonna be great. You're not gonna be stressed out. You're not gonna feel like a total weirdo heating up meals every 2 hours and struggling to maintain that consistency. Red flag number 3 is training through pain. I see so many cookie cutter programs out there where people get prescribed things like barbell squats, barbell, standard deadlifts, and a whole host of other exercises like even a barbell overhead shoulder press that honestly just won't really help the person, that honestly aren't exercises that the average untrained person can do right out of the gate. And in fact, may never be able to do without a relatively decent amount of pain. And the last thing we want is a client to feel pain all the time. If you're lifting weights and this is just the beginning of a total transformation, and you're really going all in on changing who you are, the last thing you want to be feeling is hardcore physical pain from doing exercises that you could simply avoid and do other things that still help your body transform. There's going to be modifications that most people need to be able to do things like a deadlift or a barbell squat. At the end of the day, there's a lot of other really effective exercises. And I think what this comes from is a lack of experience of hands-on work. I spent the first chunk of my experience in the fitness industry training people in person, and I actually trained people in person for almost 12 years, where I took on a few clients, even as recently as 2020, inside the gym, where I was getting hands-on work with people and really understanding structure, range of motion, lack of strength in things like the hips and the glutes and lower back. There's ways to get the result that you're looking for from an aesthetics, performance, and overall health standpoint without having to do the amazing exercises that are the deadlift and the squat, but just may not work for you. So don't think you have to train through the pain. The pain that you're experiencing is a signal that something is off. You need to consider alternatives, and ultimately you'll find that training pain-free is worth the substitution of some of these old school hardcore bodybuilding moves. The next red flag is excess protein over a gram per pound of body weight each day. In fact, I think most people need way less protein than a lot of these, let's just be honest, supplement companies recommend. And then these trainers who are on all sorts of hormonal support who tell you eat all this protein because that's what they're doing and they just don't know any other way. When you really do the research, the body only needs about 0.6 to 0.8 grams of protein per pound of lean body mass every single day. So that's taking away all the body fat that you carry and just focusing on the lean tissue on your body that we want to keep, of course. That's the lean body mass that we're talking about here. We don't need to eat a gram of protein for every pound of fat that you have. We want to get rid of the excess fat and we want to hold on to the muscle that we have and hopefully build some muscle along the way, of course. But all we're really doing is making it hard to enjoy our diet when we're trying to take in so much protein. It becomes really stressful for people who have never eaten more than 100 grams of protein a day to all of a sudden have to eat 250 grams of protein because they're at 250 pounds. They're trying to get down to 190 and their coach says to eat 250 grams of protein a day. It's just absurd and something that really annoys me. So I would tell you this, I promise you if you manage your calories and you get 0.8 grams of protein per pound of lean body mass. So let's just make it easy. I always just say take a gram of protein per pound of goal body weight and you're gonna be within range of where you need to be more than likely. And then just fill up the rest of your calories with carbs and fats based off your preference, based off what you need. Life's gonna be so much better. Your diet's gonna be so much more balanced. You'll be able to eat foods you actually enjoy without having to marry protein and have an unhealthy relationship with what I consider to be the most important nutrient, protein, but you just don't need as much of it as you might think. Red flag number 5, and I honest to God cannot believe people still do this, but I find that coaches have been prescribing over-the-counter fat burners that you can buy at GNC and Vitamin Shop. Guys, I thought we got past the lack of common sense. I guess not, because I still see people falling for this trap of buying fat burners and their coach telling them to take a fat burner all day when really all it is glorified caffeine. It's only going to stress out your adrenals more, make you more hyperactive, and then ultimately mess with your sleep schedule when you could just simply eat the right amount of calories, move enough, lift weights. And if yes, you need hormonal support through TRT or something like that, great. If your doctor that you trust recommends that stuff, awesome. And are there really powerful appetite suppressants and fat burners out there? Yeah, but they're not gonna be found at GNC. You're wasting your money when, heck, if you wanna go the fat burner route, then go all the way. Get the hardcore stuff that actually works. I'm not going to tell you to do that. That's not me recommending it or anything like that. But listen, if your coach is like, yeah, go buy some, cheap fat burner that you can find on the internet, on Amazon, or at the local vitamin shop, I can promise you right now, you're throwing money away. And if it does work, we're talking about a percentage of a percentage point. Nothing that's going to be incredibly noticeable. All the old school fat burners that actually work, they're illegal now, like ephedrine, all this other stuff that actually did result in faster fat loss. You're better off just sticking to the 3M system, movement, muscle, meals. And if you want to really push things, do things like fasting, do a protein sparing fast. That's going to speed up the fat loss process 10 times more than any fat burner pill will. Red flag number 6 is this guilt-driven coaching style that I see so many coaches utilize. It's where, a client questions the plan or wants more clarity, and the response is, trust the process, bro. Just listen to what I have to say and do what you're told. Listen, that's just a horrible way of coaching somebody. At the end of the day, I've hired coaches now for the better part of 2 decades. I love investing in great coaches. And I've had some really bad coaches along the way, which have made the great coaches that much greater. At the end of the day, yes, you do want a coach that's going to hold you accountable. He or she is going to say, hey, you said you were going to do this. I'm going to hold you to that. And then along the way, educate and inspire. It's not just about being a drill instructor or someone who's going to make you feel guilty. It's about encouraging and educating. A great coach has been down before, knows what it takes to get back up. They also know, at the end of the day, nobody knows everything. Right? So it's no surprise if a client questions things and wonders, why am I doing this? Or why can't I do this? And our job as great coaches is to understand that education is a part of the game. Knowledge doesn't guarantee success, right? You don't actually truly understand something until you've done it. So people out there who are like, oh, I understand how to lose fat, but are 40 pounds overweight, never had abs. I'll tell you right now, you don't truly understand it. From a concept standpoint, you might. But as a great coach, my job is to inspire and educate you along the way. Inspire you to raise your standards, educate you on how to get there. Don't fall into the trap of hiring a coach who just yells and screams at you, tells you to trust the process, follow the plan, don't ask questions, just do what I tell you to do. That's just a sign of someone who either has no patience or just really doesn't know what they're doing. So these tactics aren't just outdated. They're actually wildly ineffective. Unfortunately, I see so many people go through this roller coaster of hiring a coach or investing in a cookie cutter plan, realizing relatively quickly that it's unsustainable, but pushing through, getting results because they want to get out of the painful position that they're in right now. They get the result, but then guess what happens? They can't hold on to it, right? Because nobody can stick to low carb forever for the most part. I know there's some weirdos out there who do, who love it, and good for you. I just love bread, so kick rocks as quickly as possible because I don't want to be anywhere near someone who says carbs are bad. But the downfall of achieving results comes after the fact when you realize, holy crap, I'm not going to be able to hold on to this. It's a really depressing feeling. It's like making millions of dollars and watching it just bleed away almost overnight because you couldn't sustain that kind of effort. Same is true with this whole fitness thing, right? If you can't sustain a workout schedule or a nutrition strategy, then you're going to lose the results that got you there, right? You're going to lose the results because you can't stick with what got you there. So we got to almost trade a little bit of speed in some cases for a massive amount of sustainability. I promise you this, a year is going to go by really quickly. I mean, I look at the clock and it just seems like we're on rapid pace right now. So what I can promise you is this: if you do things the sustainable way, you're going to make incredible progress every single year. If you do things the unsustainable way, what'll end up happening is the old tortoise and the hare scenario, right? Where eventually, yes, the hare might be flying out of the gate, which is the unsustainable method, but you're going to get to the point where the tortoise catches up. Because if you're staying consistent year after year on sustainable methods, and that unsustainable stuff, which sounds sexy sometimes, you're like, yeah, I'm just going to drop my carbs, it's easy. I'm going to take this fat burner, I'm going to do 2 workouts a day or whatever. Eventually the rebounds that you experience every time you get to a result is going to result in no results. You're going to result with getting worse over time. And that sustainable method is going to start looking really good when you realize people who stuck with it are light years ahead of you. So here's what separates great coaches from the rest. First things first is plans should always be built for the client. The client shouldn't have to walk in and follow a cookie cutter program that's built for the masses. Are there cookie cutter programs out there that are amazing? Yes. But all they really do is provide a framework and a system. I sell cookie cutter programs if you're looking to just buy a PDF, learn some methods, great. But never once would I say this will work for everybody. It's just to give you a framework. Great coaches know that a great and tried and trusted plan should be built for the client, should also be built with the client. This is the next step where we want to take a look at a client's needs, their unique lifestyle, schedule, injury history, training history, dietary history, stress levels, all that stuff. But then eventually we also want to get the buy-in from the client. When a client buys in, if you're buying into a program, you're going to be much more likely to stick with it versus questioning it, doubting it, not trusting it. So how do we get buy-in? Well, we build with somebody. We say, hey, does this make sense to work out on these days? Can you see yourself doing this? Can you see yourself eating this way? And if the answers are yes, and the client, or you, if you're the client, buys into it, well, that's a much stronger position to be in when trying to find success with fitness. Of course, education, it's easy to get into the science of things and things start to get confusing, almost intimidating at some level because you're like, wow, this sounds like a whole host of stuff that I really have no clue about, nor do I want to understand at this level. But I think some general understanding of how things work is really important. You don't want to go the rest of your life and not understand calories, for example. You don't want to not understand progressive overload. You want to build this stuff so you want to build a strong understanding of this stuff so that you can do it for the rest of your life. Because there's never going to be a time where you're like, I don't want to be healthy. I want to be out of shape. I want to be fat. I want to feel crappy. Like that point in life doesn't exist. So we're going to need to understand how to take care of ourselves for a very long time. The last thing great coaches do is they provide sustainability. And how I define sustainability is knowing when to change the chapter. We can't be in a fat loss phase forever. We can't be in a muscle building phase forever. We can't be in a performance phase forever. We have to rotate goals and rotate periods of fitness so that people stay interested. It's not enough to just lose the weight and then see you later. Sustainability isn't just about doing things that are sustainable. It's about knowing when to change things, knowing when to refocus, knowing when to give clients some grace and just say, hey, dude, enjoy life right now. No need to make noticeable progress. Let's just do our best. Sustainability is a deeper topic than just, hey, eat foods you love and train as much as you can. Yeah, that is the basic level of sustainability, but there's a whole lot more beneath the surface. So bad coaching isn't just holding you back, it's costing you results that you could have had by now. What I can tell you, if you're looking for sustainable and really world-class transformation coaching, you can start by going to the description of this video. I have 40 epic fitness tips for people over 40 who want to make a total transformation. All you have to do is click that link and you'll start getting an email a day for 40 days. No pitch, just give you my best tips so that you can start to make progress. That is where I would start right now. Fitness coaching should make your life way more amazing. Definitely not harder. If the program you're on right now relies on these outdated and really old school methods, it's probably time to look elsewhere. I don't want to take money out of anybody's pocket. My whole goal here is to improve the fitness industry as a whole. But just to be flat out, I think my program, The True Transformation, is world-class because we put an enormous amount of time into the customer experience, ensuring that you have an enjoyable and sustainable opportunity here to radically change your body. We're not in this for meal plans or little workout tips. We're here to literally change who you are from the inside out. And in order to do that, we have to be good at what we do, and we need to have an environment for you to be successful. Great coaching is supposed to build you up, not tear you down. So if you're ready to take control, I have some next steps for you. Like I said, I have 40 epic tips that you can go download right now. You can start to get a daily email giving you the insight into how we actually make powerful transformation. But if you're looking for other steps, I have a whole gauntlet of ways that you can start making that happen today. The best next step would be to check out our actual transformation system. The links are below. You can do that. Or if you're ready to just get an idea of the questions I'd be asking you to figure out where you are, you can take our metabolic assessment. This is a little bit bigger of a commitment. It's going to take you a couple minutes to fill out. It's completely free, but it will give you an opportunity to kind of see what do you need to be thinking about, what questions you need to be asking to see where you are from a metabolic health standpoint so you can get off on the right foot. Either way, appreciate you watching. Hope this video helped. Hope it gave you some clarity on what you should be considering when it comes to fitness in general and getting some guidance along the way. My name is Josiah Novak. Thanks for watching. Remember, life moves fast. Make it count. Peace.